Today we're going to look at equations, specifically linear equations. So an equation is a statement that expresses equality. So we have this side equals this side, or this equals this equals this. Equations are different from expressions because an expression doesn't have the equal sign. It's just like 2x plus 3. No equals, nothing of that nature. Couple properties we need to review. If a equals b and I add c to one side, then to keep it fair and true, I need to add c to the other side to b as well. So rule of thumb is what you do to one side, you need to do to the other. Same idea with multiplying. If a equals b and I multiply c on one side, I need to multiply c on the other side. This is an equation with one variable. A and b are coefficients. A is a coefficient, b is what we call a constant, it's some number. The only variable here is x. So let's use the algebra skills that we know and let's solve some equations. So first one is solving linear equations. I'm going to distribute the 3 into the parentheses on this side, and on the other side, be very careful. This negative is like a -1, and that needs to get distributed into the other side as well. So when you distribute the 3 in, you're going to get 6x minus 12. That 3 has to go to both things inside the parentheses, equals 7. And then remember that negative is getting distributed in, so the x's become a minus x, and the 5 becomes a minus 5. Before we start solving or doing anything, on any side where you can combine like terms, combine them. So I have 6x minus 12 equals 7 minus 5 is 2, and then minus x. So I need to put all the variables on one side of my red line and all the not variables, all the number stuff on the other side. So I'm going to add x to both sides. 7x, I got to drop down the minus 12, equals 2. I need to move the 12 to the other side. And the opposite of minus is to add it. So I get 7x equals 14. And then 7 and x are multiplying, so to unmultiply, divide, and you should get that x equals 2. Now, the great thing about math is that you don't have to guess if you're right. You can always go back and check if you're right. So if x equals 2, I can go back and plug a 2 in. So I get 3, 2 times the 2 that we found, minus 4, has to equal 7 minus 2 plus 5. 2 times 2 is 4 minus 4 equals 7 minus 2 plus 5 is 7. 4 minus 4 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 equals 0. That is true. 0 does equal 0, so our answer is correct. And now one of the math F words is fractions. You love fractions so much. So let's get rid of the fractions. If you look at all the denominators, 3, 2, and 4. Those are the 3 numbers that I have as denominators. They're just numbers. So since I just have numbers, I can multiply and get rid of them. So the one number, well, the smallest number, it's called the LCM, or the least common multiple, that 3, 2, and 4 can all go into is 12. So I'm going to multiply everything here, everything, by a 12. So let me write what that looks like. So I have 12 times 2x plus 4 over 3 plus 12 times 1/2 x equals 12 times 1/4 x minus 12 times 7 over 3. Everything got multiplied by 12. Everything on both sides of the equation. So since it happened to everyone, it is fair. Now you can reduce. 12 divided by 3 makes just a 4. 12 divided by 2 makes just a 6. 12 divided by 4 is just a 3. And 12 divided by 3 is just a 4. So now what I really have is 4 times 2x plus 4 plus 6x equals 3x minus 4 times 7 is 28. And then I need to distribute this 4 into the parentheses. 8x plus 16 plus 6x equals 3x minus 28. Remember, combine like terms on the same sides of the equation. So 8x plus 6x is 14x plus 16 equals 3x minus 28. Minus the 3x from both sides. 11x plus 16 equals negative 28. Minus the 16 over, and you get that 11x equals negative 44. So x equals negative 4. Remember, you can go back and take that negative 4 and plug it into the original equation and make sure that it comes out that one side does truly get the same number as the other side, because the two sides are supposed to be equal. So when we solve linear and one variable equations, they can be classified into very special cases. So we can be called the identity, or we get what I call a true statement. So when you are solving your way through, if anywhere in the equation, when you're all done, you get a equals a, for example, 3 equals 3, or negative 2 equals negative 2, those are what I call a true statement. So if you get a true statement, then you are called the identity, and your answer is all real numbers. All real numbers. So it says see example 3a. So let's see what that looks like. So for 3a, I'm going to distribute the negative 2 in. So I get negative 2x minus 8. Plus. Plus 3x equals x minus 8. I can combine like terms. Negative 2x plus 3x is going to be an x minus 8 equals an x minus 8. And then if you add 8 to both sides, you get x equals x, which is a true statement. X is equal x. So this is the identity. And it has infinitely many solutions, or we can write all real numbers is the solution set. The next one, let's go back up top. It says in number 2 in the box, if you are solving a linear equation and it leads to a statement like x equals 3, something simple like this. X equals 3, that is a conditional statement. The conditional part means that any other variable you would be solving for would be dependent upon or conditional on what you got for x. So let's try example B. So if I try to solve example B, I'm going to add the 4 over, so I get 5x equals 15. Divide both sides by 5, and you get x equals 3. Since x equals something, this is called a conditional equation. And the last one is if you get something when you're solving that is a contradiction, then the solution is what we call the null set, or we can write, null set or the empty set. Null set, empty set, or no solutions. So let's try. So I distribute my 3 and I get 9x minus 3 equals 9x plus 7. I'm going to subtract the 9x from both sides, so I get negative 3 equals 7. This is not true. It never happens, so this is a contradiction. And the solution is the empty or the null set. Okay, so now we're gonna solve what's called a literal equation. A literal equation is an equation full of letters, And what we're really doing is just isolating one variable. So in the first one, it says I'm going to solve for t. So what I like to do is I like to solve or circle for t. And when I do this, I'm never going to touch that green circle. I'm going to move everything away from the green circle. So the p and the r are multiplying by that green circle. So to undo multiply, I divide. So I get I over PR equals t. And that is my answer. First one was a little bit easier. Next one, a little more challenging because we have a p on both sides of the equation. So step one is that we need to get all of the p stuff on one side. So to do that, I'm going to add this p, it's all by itself, to the other side. So I get a equals PRT plus p. And now you can see they both have a p in them, so I'm going to factor out a p, and then this is left with an RT, and over here there's a 1 placeholder, so plus 1. And so now I have a equals PRT. It says that I want to solve for p. I want to solve for p. So I need to move everything away from it. So I'm going to divide by RT plus 1. So my answer is, oops, I wrote the wrong thing. RT plus 1. So my answer is A over RT plus 1 equals P. Okay, this last one is by far the most amount of work, but we can do this. Okay, so this one says that we're going to solve for x. I have x on both sides, so we're going to do some algebra first. So let's distribute the 3. So I'm going to get 6x minus 15a plus 4b equals 4x minus 2. I'm going to put all the x stuff on one side. So I'm going to move this 2 over, and a minus the 6x over to the other side. So these cancel off. I have negative 15a plus 4b plus 2 equals negative 2x. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. I divide everything by negative 2, so a negative divided by negative is positive. So I get 15 over 2a. 4 divided by negative 2 is a minus 2b. And then 2 divided by negative 2 is going to make me have a minus 1 equals x. That's my answer. This first equation that we did, this equation is for simple interest, which we're about to use down here at the bottom. So it's, first of all, if it says in the problem anywhere that they are talking about simple interest, the formula you want to use is I equals PRT. Interest equals your principal, whatever you're investing to start with, times the rate times the time. And the time is tricky. It's in years. So if you have like 5 months, you would do 5 divided by 12. So let's try. A woman borrowed $5,240 for new furniture. She will pay it off in 11 months with an annual simple interest rate of 4.5%. How much interest will she pay? So interest equals my principal amount, $5,240. I invest this at a rate of 4.5%. You gotta change the percent to a decimal by moving the decimal point over twice, so 0.045, and my time is 11 over 12. And you should get the interest she earned when you type that in a calculator is $216.15.